All right, welcome back to the Powers on Sports podcast. Very, very honored and pleasured to continue our Life of the Wife series. We're going to be talking to some ladies around the country that are wives of professional coaches, and we're going to do a series on those ladies and their accomplishments and their journey through the coaching world throughout the football season. And I'm very proud and pleasured to have Lynnette McNair. Lynnette is the wife of Todd McNair, who's the running backs coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so we're going to talk to Lynnette about her journey through the coaching world, her journey with Todd throughout life and all that stuff, and just awesome and things that are very important to Lynnette that she's been involved with, and just get a feel for Lynnette and all the things that go into making Lynnette and the McNairs the McNair family. So welcome to the podcast, Lynnette.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great. All right, first question I'm going to ask you. You may not know the answer to this, but I bet you do. How many times have you moved?
Coaching.
Yes, since
twice.
You moved. Okay. Twice. Just twice. Okay.
Cleveland Browns and then LA for USC.
Okay.
When he got the job in Tampa, I decided the kids are still in school. I'm going to stay in Tampa. I'm going to stay in LA.
Okay.
We just travel back and forth.
I got you. What part of the, where are you from originally?
I'm from South Jersey.
South Jersey. Okay. Did you meet, I know Todd went to Temple and played for Coach Arians at Temple. Is that where you met Todd at?
I met Todd in South Jersey. We were actually introduced by Kevin Ross.
Okay. Who, for those of you that don't know, Kevin is the defensive backs coach for the Buccaneers now. He was a longtime player in the league for Kansas City, and I know Todd played in Kansas City. That's probably where they met. So continue.
Yes, and Kevin and I grew up in the same town. Okay. And Todd and Kevin were, I believe it was off season. They had just gotten town, and I was outside, and Todd said to Kevin, "Whose wife is that?" And Kevin said, "Nobody's. You want to meet her?" And so here we are 30 years later.
That's all. That's great. So, all right. So you met Todd as he was starting his NFL career. Todd played 8 years for the Kansas City Chiefs, the Houston Oilers, and such. I want to ask you, before we get to all the other good stuff, interesting how you kind of come full circle. When Todd was in the league, Joe Montana, who was the all-time greatest at the time, kind of changed teams and went to play for Kansas City with Todd. And now you on the coaching end are kind of in a similar circumstance with Tom Brady coming to town. Just what is that for you as an outsider? Kind of what is that like for you?
Well, Todd was like, "I don't think that you understand. This is Joe Montana. Like, this is Joe Montana." And I'm like, I get it. Like, I get it. And then now the same situation with Tom Brady was like, wait a minute, Todd, did I just see we got Tom Brady? What is going on? We're going to the Super Bowl.
It's crazy how all those just, you talk to everybody, just how he's he changes everybody's approach and everybody's work ethic and everybody's attention to detail, whether it's probably coaching too. I'm sure the pressure that he puts on Coach Arians and all the offensive coaches, and then obviously Todd has to then put the pressure on the players, and it just trickles through the building and trickles through everybody's way of life, I'm sure, to some degree.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So I want to ask you something. Now, you and I are recording this on 9/11. So I want to get your kind of perspective. Where were you at kind of during 9/11 and when all that stuff happened?
We were in Cleveland, and I was in the gym on the treadmill. And the news, it already showed the first plane hit. And as I'm watching live, the second plane hit. And I just immediately called Todd, like, what should I do? What's going on? And he was like, "Go get the kids from school and I'll call you back." Right. I thought it was a movie. I didn't think it was real. I'm like, I don't know what to do. It was like a paralyzing feeling, and it was just sad and so surreal, like just to watch it live.
Right. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. I know obviously back then, you still had some probably younger children and all that stuff. And just, the NFL just chose not to play that Sunday. They canceled the games that Sunday. And, there was a lot of a lot of talk about should they cancel, should they not cancel? I think they made the right decision in canceling, because people don't remember back when John F. Kennedy got assassinated back in the early 60s, they ended up playing that Sunday in the NFL, but the NFL in 2001 decided not to play. Just what was that from I guess was Todd, what was Todd's thoughts and all that stuff, just that whole knowing they're not going to play and everything's basically shutting down for a period of time?
I think Todd went into like family survival mode.
Right.
Let's figure out what's going on. Let's be safe. I don't think anybody was thinking about football that week.
Right. And I know, obviously, you being from New Jersey, that's pretty close to, obviously, that's pretty close. You probably knew people that were probably in and around that area.
Actually, my uncle's sister-in-law, her husband was at the Pentagon. Wow. And he unfortunately didn't get out. Man,
I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know that's crazy. It's just more than anything, you just want to honor these people that have given up the ultimate, like you said, you sacrifice, and they were just trying to live their life and do their job that particular day, and all the terrible things that happened. So just everybody, hopefully, will take a moment. And obviously, when this is released, it will be after 9/11. But just take a moment and honor those people and everybody, all the families that were affected by this, because it's a lifelong thing that all this happens. So,
yes.
All right, talk to me about. So, Todd, you and Todd have kind of had the journey together. Been over 30 years. When Todd's career ended and he kind of made the decision, I think that he wanted to coach. What were your thoughts on that when he kind of made that decision after playing in the league for 8 years? How much time was there? Was there a big gap between when he retired and when he started coaching?
I want to say 3 years. It was maybe a 3-year gap. And I was like, please go. Thank God. Just go. I thought it was a great opportunity, and it was just in him, and he needed to do it. He was already coaching high school, inner city in Camden, New Jersey. Okay. And I thought Cleveland Browns, when he got the call to go, and I thought that was a great opportunity for him, and it was just something that he was just destined to do, but I think he's done a good job.
Very cool. So you guys have moved. You've probably been fortunate relative to most people that you haven't had to move a whole lot. I know a lot of people, you talk to some coaches' wives or families, they're moving every couple of years.
Yeah.
So you guys lived, how long were you in Cleveland for?
We were in Cleveland for 3 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you stayed there. And then obviously he's probably moved at a couple different jobs since No,
right after Cleveland, we went to USC.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, right after Cleveland, we went to USC, and I decided that this is where I'm going to stay, and I will visit you wherever you go.
How did you decide LA was the place for you?
The weather.
Yeah.
I connected with, I met some really good friends. I met a lot of great people. My kids, have really good friends there. It's like they spent most of their childhood in California. So I couldn't tear them away. And, that was my excuse to Todd.
Yeah.
Oh, the kids. Can't do that to the kids.
How many children do you have?
We have 4.
Okay. All right. And so sounds like you still have one in the house?
One in the house. He is 14.
Okay. Is he a football player?
Yes, he is.
All right. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Very cool. So Todd goes to USC. You guys have a ton of success out at USC. people remember the Reggie Bush time, the Matt Leinart time, all those great players that came through USC. And I'm sure Todd was very instrumental in recruiting some of those guys and those kind of things. Talk to us about the fun and joy of being a part of a winning program like that, from a wife's perspective, just when you're always winning and things are going great most all the time.
That was an amazing ride. It was like him coaching in the NFL. USC was like top class everything. And just to it was such a winning squad. It was like when we did lose, it was like this isn't real. We had some great times at USC. They were busy a lot.
Right.
So in college, I felt like he was away more so, than the NFL. Days were longer, definitely. So, but other than that, it was an amazing journey.
Because remember, folks, in the college world, Todd was out recruiting a ton too, because it's even when the season's over, you're out recruiting and traveling around, going to see the high school kids and all that stuff, and which obviously requires you to not be in Los Angeles. Whereas the NFL, there's not nearly as much of that goes on in the off season. Everybody comes to the particular team for a free agency and things like that. So Todd, the coaches nowadays, they can stay where they need to stay, and the players typically come to interview them in the NFL at their facility and see the town and all that stuff. So it's kind of a different. So talk to me about how, as you and Todd were going through that in the college level, what were some things that you and Todd would make out for your time for yourself? How would you guys, when he was on the road or whatever, how would you guys connect just to try to keep the husband and wife connection and all that stuff together? What were things you guys like to do away from football?
Well, we would overdose on Sopranos. Our connection has always been watching great series. That's what we do. Been watching 24, just a bunch of different shows, and then catching up on when he's free, he would our girls were like in dance, so we were just all over LA, going to their different dance competitions, because at that time our son was little, so I was dragging him everywhere before he was able to start football. So yeah, that was our little, let's rest, let's just lay here all day, and I know you're tired, I understand it, so I'm not going to drag you out anywhere. Right. And let's just chill, and we both enjoy the same thing, and let's just do that.
Very cool. You guys like to vacation as a family? Where'd you guys like to go when going as a family vacation, stuff like that?
We just we're very much into our families. So we just like to just go back to New Jersey and just hang out, with my family, his family. We're all of our families are in New Jersey, and just do different things during the day in New Jersey, go to the beach, maybe go camping or something like that. But that's our perfect vacation.
That's Todd from New Jersey as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He's from Pennsauken, 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah, there you go. Small world.
Mm-hmm.
Small world.
Sure.
Yep. And again, remember, folks in the audience, when USC was rocking, there was not an NFL team in Los Angeles. So they were USC and UCLA were the only football games in town, and USC guys were rock stars. I mean, they were rock stars. They were competing with the Lakers, with Shaq and Kobe and all those guys. So, I mean, they were as big as anybody in the sports world back when Reggie Bush and Leinart and Pete Carroll were running the show out in college with college football. So talk to me about a national championship game. How does that differ from a Super Bowl experience in a national championship game?
It felt the same. The national championship, that was an experience that I've never experienced before. And it just, I was like, is this what the Super Bowl feels like? And then when we went to the Super Bowl, and I'm looking at the kids, and I'm like, "Are we really here? Is this real?"
Right.
It literally, it felt like the national championship. It did, because I'll tell you, USC was like USC was like
they were a dynasty,
an NFL team.
Yeah,
so
right.
The Super Bowl was just, I still have no words, because I still cannot believe that we were there.
Hold that thought.
That I was there.
Yeah, I'm going to get to the Super Bowl in a second. So you guys were involved at USC in probably one of the greatest college football games of all time, in the game that USC lost when Vince Young in Texas won the dramatic game against USC for the national championship. Win or lose, just how cool is it to be involved in a game like that? Or even though your team, they lost and Todd lost, just being a part of that atmosphere. I met the celebrities, and just the euphoria was probably unbelievable in the Rose Bowl.
It was, but that was also a sad, sad day.
Yeah, I know.
That was a sad, sad day. I was so confident that we're gonna win again. And then we didn't. And then we didn't. But it was still, and it was an amazing ride just to get to that level. The stadium, the Rose Bowl, it's a lot of history there.
Right.
And the people in LA really come out and support. Like, the Rose Bowl is really a big deal. The parade, everything.
Right.
And that was my first time, and I just was like, this is different. This is
an event. It's an event.
Yeah. There was a real big deal.
All right. So Todd and Coach Arians, obviously Todd played for Bruce Arians at Temple. So that's kind of where that connection started. What did you think when Coach Arians decided he was going to come out of retirement? And I'm sure he called Todd and said, "We're getting the band back together. You're going to come to Tampa, right?"
Yes.
What were your thoughts when kind of that happened? And, were you excited for Todd and coming back to Tampa and Coach Arians?
I was so excited. I was so excited, and I was excited for Todd because I knew that he was, eager and ready to get back in the saddle and just do what he loves to do. And it was, I can't say enough about BA. I can't. He is, man, that guy. He brings me to tears just talking about him. He's such a great guy. He has a beautiful family that he's just a rare breed. I don't want to get emotional, but
okay, I get it.
And I keep using the word amazing, but he's an amazing person.
And one thing about Coach Arians, again, I know people around that are fans of the Buccaneers and coaching. He's done so much for African-American coaches, for women. I mean, he's brought in women coaches to his staff. So he's been so instrumental in diversity amongst his staff and in the organization. Whereas that's not been always the case around the NFL and even college football to some degree. So Coach Arians, forget the coaching part, just the stuff that he's done for giving opportunities to people throughout the coaching world. Forget him being an X's and O coach, what he's done for people's careers and people's livelihoods and things like that get overlooked sometimes.
Right. Because for him, it wasn't about statistics. It wasn't about making itself look good or, let me do the politically correct thing. It was straight from the heart. He's always shooting straight from the heart, and you can see it and you can feel it. Right. And he's going to give the best guys the job. It doesn't matter, if you're a male or female, white, black, or Chinese, he's.
Yep. And he's loyal too. And he's loyal to his guys that have been there with him. Obviously, Todd Bowles played for him at Temple. he's got several of his coaches that have been with him at different stops throughout his career. So you can tell, and Byron Leftwich has played for him, obviously, as a player. So you can tell that he's fiercely loyal. Talk to me about your relationship with Christine. I've interviewed Christine, who's Coach Arians' wife. I know she was very complimentary of you. So talk to me about your relationship with Christine.
It's like when you see her, you see BA. She's the softer side, but also protective side. She's so warm, and I call her mom. I call BA pops. I'm like, when I see, she just lights up a room. It's just something special about that family and her, and just how they care for others, and you can see it in with the charities and just the giving back. And every time I see her, I just want to hug her and squeeze her. Even during COVID, it's just, she's just a person that I just feel like you can find peace and rest. Her body just like screams, "Come give me a hug." She's a great.
Yeah, I interviewed about 3 or 4 months ago for the podcast, and you could just tell that she exudes that just loving, always wanting to be helpful to other people and all that stuff. And the one time that I met her.
Yes.
All right. So you've been, obviously you've been around other coaches' wives in different stops. How is your kind of just that camaraderie of being a coach's wife on different staffs? How has that kind of developed over the years? You going from being kind of a younger mom and a younger wife in the business to now a different stage of you're in Todd's life, about how you try to help other coaches' wives that are maybe that don't know what you know of the experiences. How do you like to share some of those experiences with other ladies or wives or girlfriends of other coaches?
Now that it was harder when I was, when we were younger, when I was, younger and had little kids. So I didn't have much advice to give to anybody at that point, dragging a bunch of kids to, an NFL game and basically being a single mom for the most part. I was out of sorts, kind of. And some of the older wives would kind of help me at the games. Here, Lynnette, let me help you with this. I'll get the kids some popcorn, and I just try to, see if I could do that now that I'm older and I kind of got the system down. But like my only advice to younger coaches' wives is that, he's at work all day. He wants to come home and rest. And I know you kind of, you want your husband, but your husband need to rest, because we need to keep winning.
And again, this is the reason I want to do this series is it's not just for professional coaches. And obviously you guys are at the highest level of the NFL. It's the high school wife. It's the guy that's teaching and then he's coaching high school football or basketball or whatever, or the guy that's coaching his youth football team, or his, it's not just professional football where these coaches try to put in a lot of time and they have aspirations of going to college and maybe going to the NFL sometime, as a coach. Just your advice to the lady in their life, saying, hey, it's a tough life, but there can be a balance and there can still be a relationship and a solid marriage and all that good stuff.
I would say learn the game. Because his brain's not going to shut off when he comes home.
Right.
He could be at work all day, then, go coach his son's Pop Warner team, and then come home. But his brain is not going to shut off. He's still thinking about football.
Right.
And it's like, it's kind of like get in where you fit in kind of situation during football season.
Right.
So it's like, learn the game, be patient, enjoy it, and allow him to enjoy it. And everybody, for the most part, will be happy, except if you're losing, then nobody's happy.
So talk to me about this. Talk to me about Lynnette when you're watching a game. Do you live and die every play? every win and loss, or are you able to separate things a little bit, especially if you know things aren't going well with the season, with the record wise, and obviously that could affect your coaching status sometimes back in the, that can affect that. I get that, but are you one that lives and dies every play, or are you a little more big picture winner? How do you handle that?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
A little bit of both.
Especially when it's involving running backs, right? When it's position guys.
Yes, I'm watching every play. I'm looking at the stiff arms. I'm looking at how he pushed to get the extra yardage. I'm into it, play by play. But also, the bigger picture. I try to calm down. Okay, now it's Monday. Let's get on to the next game. Okay. Let's focus on the next game. That stung, but let's focus. Let's see what we're gonna do next week.
Do you have to calm Todd when Todd comes home and he's in a bad mood about something? Do you just let him be in the bad mood, or you try to be his psychologist and try to, hey honey, let's think about that. Let's move on to the next one.
You know what? I try, and if it's not working, I just leave him alone and pour him a drink, and that's it.
Now, were you an athlete growing up?
He's sitting across from me right now. I'm ready to bust out laughing.
Tell Todd to come on. Tell Todd to say hello.
I was a cheerleader, but I have a family full of athletes. Okay. I have cousins that played football. I have a couple state wrestling champs, basketball.
Were you a dancer or cheerleader?
I was a cheerleader. I did a little bit of field hockey, but that's, yeah.
There you go. But I
tell everybody I'm an athlete.
You're a good treadmill runner.
Right.
You get on that treadmill. That a girl. All right, let's talk about last year. Obviously, last year with COVID and all the stuff going on with protocols and coaching, how difficult, even in a family life, was it for you when you did get to see Todd? You had to be, with all the testing and all the concerns about not, people that weren't involved in the league getting, close contacts, positive. You had children still. How difficult was last year with all that stuff going on?
It was very difficult because we did a lot of FaceTime for sure.
Right.
Thank God for FaceTime.
Right. Zoom.
kids were home, remote learning, and we didn't come out here last year at all. We just didn't want to take the risk in Todd not possibly being able to, coach or whatever, or get sick. So we just we didn't come out here until the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Because we just, we wanted to be safe and make sure that Todd was safe and the team was safe and, our family, my kids and everybody that I, come in contact with. So that was different. That didn't feel good. That was like,
lonely. It gets lonely and it gets tough for you.
Yeah.
How in a normal season, when you've been out in LA and he's been in another city, whether it's Cleveland or Tampa, how often would you guys get together in a normal season? If things were normal, would you come out every couple of weeks? How often would you guys come to see each other, for a game day or for a weekend?
We would try to come out to all the home games.
Okay.
So we try to come. The year before, we were coming to all of the home games. Yep. And of course, when they played the Rams, we had maybe 40 people with us for the Rams game.
Yep.
Todd used to coach my son's Pop Warner team, and all of his, players and parents came to the game, and we all sat together. It was crazy. So if I'll go to, like, this year, I will probably go to the Saints game. I have a girlfriend, her husband coaches for the Saints, that we were at USC together.
Okay.
I might go to the Atlanta game this year in Atlanta because my best friend lives out there. Kind of kill two birds with one stone type of thing. So
and the Bucks. Good thing is in 2 weeks the Bucks go play the Rams in LA. So
yes,
you're gonna get another weekend. So that'd be good.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, so we get to Super Bowl Sunday in Tampa. First time ever a team's played in their home stadium. Obviously, the stadium's not quite full, but there's about 25,000 in the stadium. Just how excited were you that Sunday? Obviously, with Todd coaching in the game and all that stuff going on. And obviously, about middle of the third quarter, you realize we're kicking their asses and they're not coming back. How excited did you get that, hey, I'm going to be a world champion?
I almost had a heart attack. Okay. I was just trying to figure out how I'm going to get on this field. Like I just wanted to jump over all of the seats and get on the field as quick as I could, because I had anxiety the whole game, the whole day. I had anxiety, even getting dressed. I was like, one of my friends flew in town and she was like, I think you need to get up and head to, the stadium because you're going to be stuck in traffic. I was like, I literally can't move right now. I'm just that nervous. I can't even get up. But the third quarter, when I was in my safe zone, that's when I felt safe. Like, okay,
we got this.
They're
not coming back. They're not coming back. Yeah.
But it is football, and it's like, don't get too happy until that whistle blows.
That's right.
The final whistle.
That's right.
But I had a sense of relief during the third quarter for sure.
So I know Todd gets a Super Bowl ring, and I know I was talking to Christine. She says there's potentially you guys get a pendant of some sort. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I ordered my own.
Okay.
Leaving the ceremony, I was like, you know what? It says I can order something right now. I'm getting one. That ring is beautiful.
That's beautiful. That's great. That's great. Have you filmed your YouTube I'm going to Disney World promo?
No. I even asked Todd, I said, do you think I could just get the same exact ring? He was like, did you play? And did you play in that game? And I was like, no.
Tell him you helped out plenty.
Of course I did. I'm the running backs coach.
That's
the
right.
Assistant running backs coach.
That's right. You're breaking down the film. Right. High and tight. Keep that ball high and tight.
Exactly. Protect the ball at all costs.
All right, let's talk about away from football, some of the things that are important to you. What are do you have any causes, charities, things like that you participate in, that you contribute to, that just causes that are important to you in the McNair family?
The youth has always been important to me. And so Todd and I were heavily involved in the Pop Warner organization. And, certain teams in certain cities don't get, the funding that they need,
right,
for proper uniforms and proper equipment, helmets needing to be recertified every year just to make sure that they're safe. A lot of equipment was handed down that just should have been thrown away.
Right.
We both were on the board for that organization until, of course, Todd came to, moved to Tampa. So he kind of still, is in touch with everybody just to see what's going on, what's needed, how the kids doing, right, and how the kids, basically coping with the, distant learning and just all around, not just about football, just about the kids, all around how they're feeling. So that's kind of what we're, involved in, pretty much.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Is that now back in New Jersey? Is that?
No, it's actually in Pasadena.
Okay. Out in LA. Okay.
California.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. talk to me about last couple more things. We'll get you out of here. Your relationships with other wives around the league. I'm sure you've met lots of different, like you mentioned, you got friends at different teams, all that kind of good stuff. How fun is it to be able to stay in touch with those ladies and those friends of yours that you've met from different places around, whether it's college football or the NFL?
You know what? It's a different kind of relationship because we all go through the same thing. Like our conversations all sound the same, and we can relate to one another on so many levels with the way that our husbands' crazy coaching lives are.
Right.
Ken Norton's wife, I'm still in touch with her. Chris Richard, he's with the Saints now.
Right.
His wife Chandra. Rocky Seto, I don't know. He was USC, and then he was with Pete Carroll in
Seattle.
His wife Charla. We have kids that are the same age, so our kids are still in close contact. They still hang out when they're in town. It's just, it's a sisterhood.
That's right.
It's what it is. It's a sisterhood. Hey, my daughter's just had a baby. Come to baby shower. And it's like we won't see each other for 10 years and then see each other and then pick back up where we left off.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's neat. All right. What's the one thing that drives you crazy about Todd when he's at home, when he's Todd the husband or Todd the dad? What's the one thing that you say, Todd, how many more times I got to tell you, don't do that?
Clean up after himself. He's messy. My house is only clean during football season. That's it. He comes up, pick up your shoes, bro. What, your socks? Come on. You ain't gonna trip over them. They're socks. Now you're not gonna kill yourself. Come on, just put the trash is right there. Put the cup in the trash, please. That is my pet peeve with him. That's what we go through when he's home during the off season.
I got you. Well, Lynnette, it's been a real pleasure. You did a great job. Thanks for all the stories, all the insights, and keep living that life. Bring us I don't know. I didn't tell you this, but I grew up in Tampa, so I'm a Tampa guy. So I've been waiting for this day for a long time. There's been a lot of droughts in Tampa on the football side of things.
Yeah.
So we expect we expect Super Bowl #2 this year. Obviously, we had a heartbreak. We had a down to the wire one in week 1 against the Cowboys.
Yes.
Which again, we brought them through. We brought them home, and so we're on to week 2 coming up here with the Falcons, and hopefully another great season here for the Buccaneers. But all the thanks to you. Tell Todd we said hello. Thanks for allowing us to do this with you, and have another great year, and keep living your best life.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Lynnette, you're listening to the Powers on Sports podcast. We will be right back.